What is going on, everyone? We're here. We're live. I know I was literally just live for like 4 or 5 hours over on Friday Night Tights, but I can finally stream on this channel again, which I'm really excited about. I didn't really talk about it too much, but we couldn't stream here. We couldn't stream on this channel because Warner Brothers gave us a strike on one of our live streams for, heaven forbid, playing a trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League. That was enough to warrant a copyright strike somehow, some way, which in my mind is absolute bullshit, but that's what Warner Brothers does. Warner Brothers plays very fast loose with copyright. Normally it's just claims. I don't care. A little bit of work, a little bit of lawyer speak, and I get the claims released. A copyright strike is bullshit. I could not stream on this channel for over 2 weeks, but we got it all resolved. We're good now. So now we can stream, and I wanted to stream and talk to you guys, especially after that big Chris Terrio article that dropped yesterday. I talked about a little bit on the 4Nerds stream. I want to say big shout out to those guys. I had a lot of fun on that stream. I know that there were some people that did not want that stream to happen for some reason. They got really upset that anyone would dare talk to me, which I think is just absolutely ridiculous. But you know, that's just where we are. For some people, they just can't handle that kind of thing. So I am glad I went on there. I'm glad I got to talk to them. We had a couple different viewpoints on a few things, talked about it, had a lot of fun. Definitely recommend checking out those guys. They talk a lot of Snyder Cut as well. Blue-Eyed Scorpio with a $5 super chat. I expected the Rocky Knob to be a lot rockier than this. That John Denver's full of shit, man. Well, thank you, Blue-Eyed Scorpio. Oh, I see. My Nerdy Home is like, I'm not wrenched with this account. Well, now she is. Have you guys seen the new Batman Long Halloween trailer? I haven't actually. I saw so many people talking about it. I haven't had the opportunity to watch it. I've been so busy the past few days. I'm sure you guys have seen. I haven't done as many videos over here. I haven't done as many videos on my main channel. I've just had a lot of stuff at work going on, a lot of stuff with actual like people in town kind of thing. So that's what I've been dealing with a lot this week. But now it's time to catch up. Now it's time to catch up with all that good stuff. I see Desaad in the chat. What's up, Desaad? Dude, that looks sick, actually. I love that profile picture. That looks awesome. Judacon's here. What's up, Judacon? Thank you to everybody who came over from Friday Night Tights. I know that I mentioned it right before that stream ended. This is very impromptu. I literally created the event before Gary went to me to kind of do our outros and everything. So, yeah. It's annoyingly divided into 2 parts. Yeah, that's what I heard. So we will see. I guess really quickly, let me go to my email because I want to show you guys this this ridiculous bullshit. Let me see if I can find it from YouTube. Here we go. Let's make sure that I didn't put, oh yeah, there it is. All right, I'm not going to show that part then. Definitely not going to show that part. Good thing I scrolled down and checked. Here is where I got informed that I got a copyright strike. Now, this is when I submitted the counter notification for this stream. It happened on March 17th, literally the day before Zack Snyder's Justice League. So I've not been able to stream on this channel since the Snyder Cut came out. They struck me on the fucking 17th, just a few days before my charity stream. So it's really weird to get a copyright strike like this. In a 2-hour stream that I did, maybe an hour and a half, something like that, I played a little bit of the Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer. That is insane that they gave me a strike for this. Fucking garbage, in fact. And I'm scrolling past my address that is right here. I don't want to necessarily show that. But as you can see, we are streaming now. We have been restored. In accordance with the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, we've completed processing your counter notification. The following videos have been restored unless you deleted them. No, I didn't delete it. I didn't do shit because I knew I was right. And we got the stream back. We got the strike cleared. It's bullshit. it's bullshit to have to go through that every once in a while. I don't understand why Warner Brothers struck me. Now, obviously, recent events, we have realized that Warner Brothers is very much aware of myself and people like me. So maybe there was some intentionality to it. It was literally a strike the day before Justice League released. It was literally a strike right as I was about to do this massive stream. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think it was just a coincidence? Do you think that that there was nothing wrong with that? It just so happens. It just so happens that a copyright struck me hours before the Snyder Cut went live. I want to know your thoughts. They didn't want me on a stream talking to you guys on this channel. I don't know why. Why could that be? Why could that be? I see Douglas Nelson in the chat. What's up, Doug? For $5. The biggest threat to the Snyderverse is Bad Robot. They know how to work the woke game and sabotage anything in their way. That's what I think. I've been saying that a lot the past few days. I've been saying a lot the past few days. I think we're really underselling the J.J. Abrams involvement in this entire thing, because J.J. Abrams is someone who wanted the slate wiped clean for Star Trek. He wanted to do his own Star Trek canon, not have anything else going on. Same thing for Star Wars. He came in, all these books here, all the expanded universe books, they put a stop to that and just continued on with a new canon when J.J. Abrams came into Star Trek. I think he's pretty impactful for DC and what they're doing. So, I don't know. Ryan's 3 inches of raw disappointment says no coincidence. No coincidence. No, they did it. Fuck Warner Brothers. There are no coincidences. There are no accidents. Warner Brothers hates us. WB don't like your honesty, brother. I don't think so. Yeah, Warner Brothers struck the channel. Warner Brothers struck my stream that I did the day before the Snyder Cut release. I didn't really make it very public because there was just a lot of other shit going on at the time. So I didn't want to try to change the narrative and make it look like I was shifting it to that. So I just stayed silent and I fought it and we won it. So now we're streaming again. We're streaming again. And why are we streaming today? Well, it's because I haven't done a video in a few days and I needed to talk about this because Chris Terrio came out and really spoke out about everything that happened on the set of Justice League. And I think it's something that we need to talk about, and it requires kind of a long form. I didn't want to do like a 5 or 6 or 10-minute video because I just didn't think we could fit it all in. What does this mean? I toot? What does that mean? Does that mean tweet? Oh man, you're gonna strike this video now. For $5, Super Nate says, bro, I just want a Daredevil style show for Affleck's Batman and Joe's Deathstroke on HBO Max. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I would love that. Absolutely. I would fucking love that. We need more Deathstroke. We need Deathstroke on HBO Max, and we need Affleck's Batman. That's what I want. When it comes to Chris Terrio, now before we even get into this article, I have kind of mixed feelings about Chris Terrio in general. Argo was fine. He won an Academy Award for it. He got a lot of acclaim from Argo. I obviously love Batman v Superman. If you didn't know, guys, I got on the resupply after they got sold out and they did a resupply. Boom. I got this Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice fucking 4K, which I am so excited about this. I'm excited to pop it in and see it in all its 4K glory. So we'll see what happens. I'm probably going to be able to watch that soon. Whoops. I want to share the screen. But anyway, I love Batman v Superman. Absolutely love that movie, the Ultimate Edition, the one that is truly, kind of Zack and Chris's story. I hated Rise of Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker is one of the worst movies we've ever seen. I think that was a product of people rushing things. I think it was a product of studio meddling and studio interference. I think J.J. Abrams is not a good filmmaker. I think a lot of things went into Rise of Skywalker, but Chris Terrio's name is on that too. So I have a very like mixed feelings about Chris Terrio in general, but I love what he's done in the DCEU with Batman v Superman. And obviously Zack Snyder's Justice League I thought was really good. Is it perfect? No. Are there plot holes? Yes. But I thought it was really, really good and far superior to the dog shit that was the theatrical version. And he goes off about the Joss Whedon cut of Justice League in this. So we're going to get into it. Yes, I did. Warner Brothers is abhorrent. Ooh, yes. Green Girl says, do you think Affleck wants to continue? I don't know. I think he was more than willing to come back and do reshoots for Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think that with the right people involved, Ben will come back with some considerations and like very much understand that this is going to happen. It's going to be a certain singular vision and the studio's not going to interfere in the same way that they did before. So I think with those things, yeah. Scott Alderson for $10. Just watch a Glenn Beck video talking about the US dollar being outlawed along with Bitcoin and replaced with digital currency or some dip. What do you think? That's crazy. That's the first I've heard of the US dollar being outlawed. I think what's far more likely is the SEC starts trying to crack down on cryptocurrency. That's what I think is far more likely. We've seen them do it with library coin. They're going to come after everybody because the powers that be do not like the fact that we have something decentralized. That's kind of how I feel about it. What up, dude? What's up, Jock Nerdy? Hey, man. Snyder Steppenwolf. I got to give a shout out to Snyder Steppenwolf. In a lot of chats, a lot of different chats, and he, he stands up for people that he thinks are good people, and I appreciate it. I won't get too specific, but I appreciate it, man. I really do. Let's get into this article. Justice League screenwriter Chris Terrio is super pissed off. I would not have titled it this. Maybe I would do something that was maybe a little bit better for the algorithm. But I think that there's some really good stuff in here. The Argo Oscar winner is tired of being hated by the haters, and he despises what happened to his DC films too. This is not just about Justice League. This is about a lot. Chris Terrio says, "Oh, Jock, you found we're gonna send you? Hell yeah, dude! I'm so excited about that. You don't even know. I love whiskey. I love whiskey." Chris Terrio is not pulling his punches anymore. For 5 years, the Oscar-winning screenwriter of Argo kept his mouth shut about his work on the DC films Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and Justice League, even as scorn from critics and fans exacerbated already painful behind-the-scenes memories. Worst of all, he agreed with many of their complaints. He described the films that Warner Bros. Released in theaters in 2016 and 17 as incoherent misfires, undermined by corporate meddling, poor franchise planning, and tone-deaf decisions that prioritize costly VFX sequences over coherent storytelling. Terrio believes that Zack Snyder's director's cuts of both are much stronger, if still imperfect, movies, an overall vindication of their work together. And I would agree. I think that BVS. I think that BVS is a like more tight overall narrative, and I think it's probably a better movie than Justice League. I think there's a couple other little plot things you can pick apart for Justice League, even though I think that Justice League is a better movie for the vast majority of people to watch. I agree with him that it's vindications of the stuff that they did together. In an exclusive wide-ranging interview, the screenwriter said the Snyder Cut of Justice League, recently released a 4-hour-plus event on HBO Max, righted a kind of cinematic wrong perpetuated by studio leadership that is now almost entirely moved on from Warner Brothers. The 2017 theatrical cut was an act of vandalism. I don't know if we're going to read these big ones right here because these are just quotes they pull out. I'm going to try to read them in order. Terrio first joined the DC universe to rewrite an existing Batman v Superman script because its Batman actor had qualms about the project. I think the studio brought me in to appease Ben Affleck because they thought, okay, well, we have this movie star who's reluctant about doing this, so why don't we bring in this guy, Terrio said. The screenwriter was frank about trying to make sense of the film's warring heroes, turning their fight into a metaphor for a divided America while attempting to fix elements he found too nonsensical or offensive. Studio officials then demanded 30 minutes be removed from the theatrical cut, most likely because shorter runtimes mean more daily screenings, often resulting in higher box office earnings. Terrio said the act sabotaged the narrative. And I agree. I think that I've said that multiple times. The fact that, excuse me, the fact that you have a story that you're trying to tell, a complex story. I think that Batman v Superman is a complex story. I don't think Justice League is as complex. That's why I think it's kind of easier for more people to digest. You have a very complex story that you cut 30 minutes out of that cuts pieces. Like, you don't quite understand what went down in Africa. You don't quite understand how involved Lex Luthor is. You don't quite understand how all these people know these things. And that is where the theatrical cut really suffers, in my opinion. So I agree with Chris Terrio. Even the title, if you took 30 minutes out of Argo, as they were from BVS, it would make zero sense at all. Critics would say, what a lazy screenplay, because the writers don't have motivations and it's not coherent. And I would agree with them. Even the title, this is interesting. Even the title, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, was a disaster, he said, that primed audiences to roll their eyes at the film well before release. Terry hoped Justice League would be a better experience. He was very wrong. After watching Joss Whedon's version of the film, Terrio was so disgusted, he explored taking his name off the movie. Especially galling to him was the sidelining of Ray Fisher's tragic hero, Cyborg, whose arc the actor himself had helped craft. Fisher's been outspoken for months about his experience following years of silence. Now Terrio is doing the same. He said he bottled up his feelings about theatrical cuts to avoid hurting the cast and crews. Now that Snyder and Terrio's preferred versions are available, the screenwriter is finally opening up about how it all went wrong in the first place. Awesome shot of the Justice League. And here we finally go. $15. I ain't going to pay for this shit. I'm not going to pay for that. Chris Terrio. I'm so happy and relieved that all the thousands of artists and craftspeople all over the world can finally have their work seen in public, and all the work that Zack and the actors put into this can be seen now. It's sort of a gift that we got from HBO Max because it wouldn't have been possible a few years ago. Can you point out something specific that you're glad gets showcased in the new version? Willem Dafoe's performance in the Aquaman story. Great point. I totally forgot when I was talking about all the different people that had their shit cut out of Justice League. Totally forgot about Willem Dafoe. Yeah, he's not even in the theatrical cut. Obviously, the character Iris West, and most certainly Ray Fisher's performance as Cyborg. It was always the heart of the film to me and just meant so much to me personally because of so much heart and life were in the story. That's the thing about this version of Justice League, that none of it was done cynically or as a money grab or an attempt to sell Happy Meals toys. It really was personal for me and for Zack and for many of the actors. Is it true you were banned from the Justice League set? I wouldn't say I was banned. The studio attitude was, we'll take it from here. I was frankly shocked when I saw the Snyder Cut and how much the original script was shot. With some small revisions, they shot the script, and I understand sometimes that was a battle for Zack. How do you feel about the version Joss Whedon assembled after Zack left the project? When those personal touches were removed from the film in the 2017 version, I was silent because I couldn't really say anything, but of course it hurt. All that remained was a dinosaur skeleton of what had been a great lumbering beast. It might have been a big unruly beast, and obviously it's 4 hours. The movie is maximalist and operatic, and sure, it's a bit crazy, but I think the movie is crazy in the best way. Now, finally, he's going to get to start actually telling the story here. And I see a super chat from Illuminate for 40, is that yen? Is that what that is? 40 yen? I'm not sure. Justice League 2017, maybe it's rupees? I don't know. Justice League 2017 was an act of vandalism. Oh, yes, it was. And we're going to get to that. We are going to get to that. I see people talking at the soup. The fact that I got soup next to me. Yeah, I got soup next to me. I see Kirsty says she's going to bed. Good night, Kirsty. Thanks for hanging out. All right, here we go. Can we start at the beginning with Zack? You worked on BVS. Can I assume that was a good experience, at least with him, since you signed on to another movie? Ben called me and said he was working on this film, which was a Superman film in which he was going to play Batman. So he asked if I would read the script and consider doing a rewrite. He asked if I would do some character work. So it was already determined and storyboarded that Batman was trying to kill Superman, and Batman was going to have gone down a dark road. He was branding criminals. It had certain dark elements that were non-negotiable and already in the story. I have questions about that. I have questions about how much input Zack Snyder had in those things, because the way Chris presents it, it's like, hey, these are the things that the studio is mandating that we do when I came on board to write this movie, which is kind of fucking nuts that the studio were the ones that were mandating this very dark path, and then Zack and Chris kind of had to run with it. I don't know. Seems crazy to me. What did Affleck want you to do? My job was to create a story and a tone, really, in which Batman could be that person and in which two heroes could get to the point where they're fighting to the death. What was your approach? I came in to think the only way that this could work is as a fever dream or as a revenge tragedy. I thought, how do we create a story in which Bruce Wayne is traumatized by the war of Krypton coming to Earth, in which he enters into this kind of madness? He becomes Captain Ahab, and he won't listen to saner voices like Alfred, for example, who are telling him to just see reason. He's a man possessed. So the film was dark by its nature. As I worked in the movie, it seemed to me it was a snapshot of what I was feeling on the ground of this country. Now, this is where I like when Chris Terrio says this, I don't necessarily like it when people approach things from a political standpoint, and he kind of tries to avoid that a little bit later on. But he says, the snapshot of what I was feeling the ground of this country, talking about the divide in the country, which maybe didn't become apparent until the division that came about from the last presidency. Of course, he was writing this in 2015, so it's interesting. I thought this superhero movie could be about getting into our worst natures and then coming out and into a redemption. What did you want to avoid? I didn't want to make it into a sitcom joke that Batman and Superman are trying to kill each other. I think that's a great thing. I think that's a great thing because that is a big problem I've had with a lot of Marvel's, with a lot of Marvel's attitudes towards their heroes and their movies. And you have Civil War, you have Captain America Civil War that turned into Captain America Backyard Brawl and these characters joking with each other in what, if you've read that arc or know anything about that arc from Marvel Comics, it's fucking serious shit. But it's all laughs and jokes when it comes to the MCU. If I'm going to work on this movie, it's going to be dark and operatic because it's going to be uncomfortable. Zack and I come from very different approaches to filmmaking, but I immediately liked him because he isn't cynical and wears his heart on his sleeve. I'm cynical enough for any room that I enter into. How did things develop from there? I wrote drafts of the Batman Superman movie, which wasn't called Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice by me. I did not name the script. In fact, this is crazy, guys. In fact, I found out what the movie was called along with the rest of the world on the internet. I was not consulted on the title of the film. I was as surprised as anyone. I would not have named it Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. And I agree. I think Batman v Superman is okay. The Dawn of Justice part is clearly, to me, an indication to all the fans that are trying to play Marvel catch-up that, hey, guys, Justice League is coming. Don't worry. That's our plan. That's kind of what I think it is. Was that Zack's choice? I don't know exactly who named it. So he says, I don't know. But I suspect it was the studio, and I suspect it was marketing, to be honest. It might have been the first step towards creating ill will for the film. I suspect putting the words Batman and Superman into the title had some marketing component to it. I think you're right that title did rub people the wrong way. I heard it and I thought it just sounds self-important and clueless in a way, tone deaf. The intention of the film was to do something interesting and dark and complex. Not quite as Not quite as Las Vegas bust 'em up WWE match as Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. Which is interesting to me. What do you guys think? Lude says, I agree the title was really weird. Gustavo, I would have asked him what he called it. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know why the person writing this article or doing this interview didn't ask that, because I would have said, what would you have gone with, Chris? And here's something like that. Would have been nice. How did you feel about the version of BVS that was first released? I was proud of the script when I completed it, but it turns out when you remove the 30 minutes to give the characters motivation for the climax, the film just doesn't work. As we learned from the 2 versions of Justice League, you can't skip on the character and think the audience would give a shit about the VFX. That stuff was later restored in the extended version. I guess it's called the Ultimate Edition, remastered and released on HBO Max this March. I mean, the Ultimate Edition's been out there for a long-ass time, but yeah, the new remaster, it did come to HBO Max. So this house of cards had been built in order to motivate this clash between America's 2 favorite heroes. Made no sense at all. That was what happened with Batman Superman. The movie was always going to be dark. There were always going to be people who just didn't want to see that version of a comic book world, and I get that. But what hurt was the criticism that the script was not coherent, because when I turned in the script to the studio, which they, by all accounts, were happy with, it made sense. And I think that we've seen that a lot with Warner Brothers. When it comes to especially their DC properties. It could have been called Justice League Dawn of Justice, The Trinity Dawn of Justice, Man of oh, dude, actually, fuck. That's actually Man of Steel, The Dark Knight Returns. I don't know if they would have been able to get away with The Dark Knight Returns, especially because they just did Dark Knight Rises and everything with Chris Nolan, so they probably wouldn't have wanted to put that in there. But yeah, I dig that. I dig that. What's your relationship with Zack? Good. I have nothing whatsoever bad to say about Zack. He has a skill set that I don't have as a visualist. And he's got a contagious excitement that when you describe a scene, he almost can't contain himself and just wants to go draw it or paint it. Zack never for a second turned his back on me or doubted my work. After Batman v Superman, many of my Hollywood friends just stopped talking to me because they're sort of thought that I somehow was complicit in this very public failure of a studio film. You learn pretty quickly who your real friends are and who are your air-kissed Hollywood friends are. Zack could not have been more supportive and never stopped believing that together we were going to create this big, epic DC world. How do you feel when the journey ended prematurely with Justice League's upheaval? I went into such a depression when the film was taken away and rewritten. But I didn't even feel entitled to be depressed because Zack and Debbie were dealing with their family tragedy. Measured against that, losing the film that you wrote seems like nothing at all. But it did hurt. It hurts to think that I cared so much about these characters and worked on nothing else for a very long time. Do you feel like the title and the cuts for length made it harder for people to appreciate the things that did work in Batman v Superman? This is a very long answer. I see Boba Fett here. What's this? Ryan live at Friday Night Tights? Yes! I had to go live. I had to go live on the live channel because it's been too long. That's exactly right. The audience has to know that they're in good hands. The minute you lose them from a story point of view, they lose the desire to look at it generously. Once the critics decide a movie's incoherent, it's just a pile-on. Then they attack everything. There's a line at the beginning of the film where a warlord says to Lois Lane, "They didn't tell me the interview is with a lady," and Lois Lane replies, "I'm not a lady, I'm a journalist." So one reviewer held up this line as proof positive of my stupidity and my inability to write Lois or to write at all. Well, the character Lois in the movie was inspired by the journalist Marie Colvin, who, of course, was killed in Syria. I'm not familiar, but killed in Syria, so that sucks. She was one of the most intrepid journalists who ever lived, in my opinion. And there's a story in Vanity Fair, Marie Colvin's Private War, and the line that Lois says is almost exactly the line that was in that article, where a Chechen warlord says he wouldn't shake her hand because she's a woman. Marie Colvin replied, "There's no woman in this room, only a journalist." So that line was my tribute to her. But then the pylon, a line like that is held as proof positive. I don't understand either women or journalists or human beings, and that I'm a shitty writer. I mean, I didn't have any problem with that. I don't know. Steph says, damn. What do you mean? Damn. I don't remember what you're talking about. Where did it go? Here it is. I said that already. Oh, here it is. Sounds like you feel you lost people before they even saw it. That was the climate in which the film dropped. Anything and everything was attacked because the reviewers questioned the motives behind the film. And to some extent, I don't blame them. The marketing promised this mindless fight movie, and any attempt to make something real or complicated was just met with anger and vitriol because the audience just didn't assume good intentions. Another complaint was that Snyder's DC films were too grim and heavy. Did you feel blamed for that? This is really fucking interesting right here. This is really interesting, and I want to know where this came from. Illy May says, unsubscribe me from this crap. I mean, you do it your fucking self. I don't know. I don't know what your problem is. Or why you feel the need to be here if you don't want to. But, yeah, it's not going to hurt my feelings, bro. I don't want to assume your pronouns. Bro, I don't know if I'm right there. But there you go. Have a good life. Another complaint was that Snyder's films were too grim and heavy. Did you feel blamed for that? The studio seemed to take this position after BVS that my writing was too dark and that this was their problem. But what they didn't mention was that, for example, in the draft of the BVS script that WB had developed before Chris Terrio got there, the draft I was handed when I joined the project, Batman was not only branding criminals with the Bat brand, he also ended the movie by branding Lex Luthor. The ending was a point over which I explicitly went to the mat with the studio again and again. I argued that Batman cannot end the movie continuing this behavior, which amounted to torture, because then the movie was endorsing what he did. That is interesting. That is interesting. And again, I want to know how, like, where this script came from and where the mandates came from the studio that some of these things be involved in it. Because that's crazy to me. Super Nate in the chat for $5. I respect Chris for Batman v Superman and Justice League, but he was also involved in Rise of Skywalker, single worst Star Wars movie ever made. I actually said that early on, like when we started doing it, Nate. I said I had mixed feelings about him because I love BVS and I really love the Snyder cut of Zack Snyder's Justice League, but Rise of Skywalker is one of the worst movies ever made. So, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Fat Guy Review says, fuck that, dude. I'm sub for life. Thank you. Thank you, Fat Guy Reviews. Kiyoki for $10. Thank you so much, man. Terrio hinted that critics hated the film before it was released, as there was this narrative that the MCU needed to be protected, so they bash anything they felt threatened what they were doing. I don't disagree with you. I do not disagree with you that is part of it. We've heard, like, there are exposés on Rotten Tomatoes and the people that work there and critics for Rotten Tomatoes saying that they definitely get together and feel like they should do this to promote this movie and not that movie. That's something that happens. That's real, whether people want to believe it or not. The information is out there that you can find for yourself. But thank you for the super chat. That may very well be what happened. WazD, do you think the Snyderverse will continue in your opinion? Be real though. If I was going to put like a bet on it, I would bet with I would bet with probably like 35 to 40% chance that it happens. I know a lot of people might not want to hear that. But there's a lot of people that do not want the Snyderverse to continue in any way, shape, or form. They fucking despise everything that it represents. They hate the fans. They want to forget about it. They don't want to remember that, or they don't want to be shown their failures and their mistakes. And the J.J. Abrams factor. I think we got to take all of that into account. But I do still think there's a realistic chance. We've heard a lot of rumblings for a long time, depending on which scooper you listen to or you get whatever from, that, you know, there might be some legs to that. I hope that it happens. And I'm still hopeful that it could and will happen, you know? But I do think we need to be realistic. Maj Hussein, you have a really job or only bitch bout moves? Yeah, I do. If you listen in the start of the stream, you dumbass bitch, you would have heard that I do have a job, and I actually spent a lot of time at that job this week, which is one of the reasons you haven't had as much content on this channel that you know and that you love here. And when you're asking if I bitch about movies, I'm literally talking about a movie that I really liked, and I'm talking about another movie that I really liked. So again, man, it's so easy. Like the haters are so easy to destroy because let's just be real. Look at this. They're not sending their best. I think that's very clear and very obvious at this point. But thanks for being here. Make YouTube your full-time job. Maybe sometime in the future, a long time from now, I could see it happening. For right now, me personally, that's not something that's anywhere in the near future. This is something I do on the side, and I put a lot of time and effort into. But, you know, for what I'm doing and you know, the things I want to do, I need to have my job and that security and all that stuff for right now. But maybe there will come a time. I'd have to grow both these channels a long way. But thanks to you guys in the chat, thanks to your constant support and your, like, the patrons, the members, the super chats, the likes, the shares, the subs, like every little bit that you guys do helps me towards that eventual path. That would be awesome, you know, if I were able to do that sometime. Long way off, but gonna keep pushing and keep growing. Mr. J for 10 bucks. Hail, Rocky, Knob, Outpost. Sorry, bro. I'm probably going to mention that all the time. Anyway, hashtag restore the Snyderverse. Warner Brothers on some bullshit. Yes, they are, Mr. J. Yes, they are. Appreciate the super chat and the throwback to the Rocky Knob Outpost. Jock Nerdy for 5. Sorry, splitting time between you and Lethal on Twitch. Oh, no worries, man. Go support Lethal 100%, buddy. I appreciate you and everything that you do. Blue-Eyed Scorpio for 5. Ryan, my gaming PC will be here for 9 weeks. 9 weeks, bro. That's crazy. It's because it's so expensive. PewDiePie is behind it, I'm sure. He's trying to slow my dominance. He can only slow. He'll never stop me. Thank you. Thank you, Blue-Eyed Scorpio. That's fucking hilarious. That is hilarious. Bizarre Duwang for $5. Rise of Skywalker was doomed from the start, even before Chris joined. It was filled with studio interference too. No way anyone could have saved it. I definitely think that was part of it. You know, and you have to factor that in when you look at what happened with Rise of Skywalker. But you also can't deny that's one of the worst movies ever. And I'm sure a lot of things was put on them by Disney and by Lucasfilm what needed to happen in that, for sure. I wasn't calling you a dumbass bitch. I didn't go after you, Carmen Steele. We're good. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I didn't think you were coming after me at all. Timothy Fitzgerald for 5. I was not a big fan of the Snyderverse, but I did like the Snyder Cut a lot, and I did not imagine it gets so bad as Jar Jar and Coates. That is the alternative, guys. The alternative to the Snyderverse is J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates, who's literally insane. Ta-Nehisi Coates is an insane person. An insane person. I am an Indiana guy. Oh, my nerdy home clapping back at Maj Hussein. That's right. Thank you. The member stream tomorrow. I need to set up memberships on this channel because I am eligible too. But the member stream for tomorrow is going to be at 4 p.m. Pacific time, Chris. I'll get the stream set up and everything tonight. No worries. JJ52 for $5. Ryan, are the beaches and Gaslamp bars open? Thinking about visiting San Diego in May. Fuck Naughty Dog. I don't know. I don't know, JJ52. I haven't gone down to the Gaslamp to the bars. I've got a couple bars around me if I want to get a drink that I can go to. I think a lot of them are open. I know the beaches are open because I drive by one of the beaches every day on my way to work in my real proper job, as Maj Hussein would say. But yeah, I know that some beaches are definitely open, at least for certain times. Bars are definitely starting to open up, at least. Starting to open up. You missed it. Was it a super chat that I missed? I hope I didn't miss it. Okay. As long as I didn't miss your super chat or anything, Nate. Or not Nate. Who am I talking to? Carmen. As long as I didn't miss your super chat, I didn't want to miss anything. Let's get back to this though. Another complaint. The branding of Lex Luthor. And he said that he's the one that changed that because he needed it to not be that way. Or they needed to show that Batman had grown. What was your argument to them? It's one thing if Batman begins the movie as a dark version of himself whom we don't recognize, but he has to see the error of his ways and remember his better self in the course of the movie. By the end of the movie, he needs to be the Batman we know, and he has to be ready to go and create the Justice League. Otherwise, I said, what was the point? That is that is a good way to look at it, and that is, what I really enjoyed about that journey. And that's what I try to tell everyone when they're like, Batman shouldn't be killing people. It's like, yeah, bro, that's the point of the fucking movie. Like, Batman is doing things he shouldn't be doing. He's lost his way. He needed, like, an alien in Clark was able to remind him of his humanity. And that's the story that gets told here. So, what else did you push back against? I'm the one who had been saying we can't make a joke out of Superman raining hell upon black African Muslim characters in the desert, as Lois promises that Superman is not going to go easy on them because they punched her. But somehow I'm the person with a dark sensibility. I wanted to say I've been saving you from yourselves. I've been working with the director to bring a voice of conscience and sanity to the almost perversely dark film you've been developing for years, but I'm the problem here. Did you feel you were able to significantly change that Africa scene with Superman for the better? I removed the punch of Lois for one thing. Just think about the optics of that. I'll be honest, I wouldn't have minded. Yeah, it might have been Goyer. It might have been Goyer, Ian. Good night, Pinhead. Have a good one. Gas is $4 here. $4 in California. I don't care about like if Lois had got punched by those people. I don't care about the optics of that. I'm fine with like Lois Lane, she handles herself in these situations. She stands up to these people. If she got punched, I mean, well, I don't understand. I don't think that's a big deal. But people are very adverse to women getting hit in Hollywood. And I think everyone should be fair game. If you're going to show dudes kicking ass, you also need to show dudes getting their asses kicked. Same thing goes. If you're going to show a woman kicking ass, I think it's fair to show a woman getting her ass kicked. Like, I don't know. That's how I see it. I don't have a problem with that at all. I was able to add material to the film and ask the movie to grapple with what that battle meant so that it didn't seem like a casual scene of Superman intervening in this way without reckoning the consequences of the intervention. I place that in context of a moral question. Superman says, think of what could have happened, and Lois says, think of what did. And that is BVS. It is these very two different perspectives on everything. So, Green Girl for $10. Thank you so much. Your enthusiasm got me excited for the Snyder Cut, and now I'm diving back into DC. Grew up on the animated universe, and now it's also helping with my Star Wars fatigue. Just wish there were more books. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good comics and a lot of good graphic novels. If you have HBO Max, because you got it for the Snyder Cut, watch the old Justice League cartoons. I've been rewatching those. The Justice League. The 2 seasons of Justice League and then 3 seasons of Justice League Unlimited. I really love those. Really getting back into those again. That sequence takes place in a fictional African country called Nairobi, and there's manipulation happening with Lex and his American mercenaries trying to provoke conflict and frame Superman. After Superman rescues Lois, the film shows the people of that region truly suffering in the crossfire. Without sounding too political, it's not lost on me that much like a drone, Superman sort of comes from out of nowhere in the sky, vanquishes his enemies, and then flies off with no consequences. That may not have been an angle on Superman that people wanted to see and wanted to think about. Did you also add the scene with character Kahina Ziri, who was a witness to the battle, testifying about the aftermath in DC? Ultimately, we learned she was coerced by Luthor, but her testimony does make the audience, and Clark Kent himself, reevaluate his actions and how he operates. That's something that totally got cut out of this entire arc. Really got bastardized in the theatrical cut, in my opinion. He says, yes, that was added afterwards. I added that scene. He came down and then came fire. The story she tells, at least in the script, is that he destabilized an entire region and the government forces in and come and slaughtered the village. Since these were the optics that were already in the movie, I thought my job was to ask the question, say, what do we actually mean by this? You're pushing back against some of these scenes. You're saying the studio wanted these things, but you also had to convince Zack, right? So was Zack open to these criticisms? When I would talk to Zack about these things, I think he got it. We discovered that we were on the same page and that he loved the idea of the scene in Congress with this African woman describing the consequences. He right away sparked to that and got excited about casting that character and thought she could be a very important character for the movie. So Zack was quite open to all this stuff, and I thought the studio was too. Why weren't they? Later, when I realized that so much of the plot was going to get cut out, I began to think, well, they didn't really want this kind of story. The last things to get cut out are the stunt scenes and the special effects because they cost so much. By the time they're all in there in the assembly, enormous amounts of money have been spent on every frame. So when you're looking to cut time, the things that get cut out tend to not be the big effect sequences or the fights or the stunts. The things that get cut are the nuance. Yeah, the scenes that actually give meaning to those bigger action sequences. I think that's a problem not only with this film, but I suppose for all tentpole films. Let's see. Given your concerns about BVS structures you inherited, why did you sign on to Justice League? I agreed to write Justice League because I wanted the chance to write these characters with love and hope after getting through the darkness of Batman v Superman. The end of my version of Batman v Superman includes Bruce seeing the error of his ways and promising to change. It's the return of conscience after an ethical nightmare. And in Justice League, Bruce does do better. And that is something for me that I loved, that I absolutely loved the difference that we got to see between Justice League, Joss Whedon, and the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut really, I think, gave Bruce his time and to show that he truly was. He had this chip on his shoulder and he was inspired by what Superman did. And he was dedicated to fixing all the wrongs that he had done. That's what it was for me. That's what it was for me. Jesus, obviously, if I thought you talk about the Snyder stream, which is fucking old news, people don't even care about that shit anymore. People don't. He didn't say what everyone tried to spin it as, and if you fell for it, then you fell for it. Emotions were obviously running high. Jeremy's got a video on the main channel detailing exactly all the things that went down about it. But hey. Can't please everybody, can you? Where am I? Here. After Batman v Superman came out, the critical reaction was negative and the box office was underwhelming. Justice League was about to begin shooting. What was the atmosphere like then? There was a mood of fear at the studio, no doubt. My impression was that people in boardrooms started making the decisions, and they were decisions based on arbitrary metrics that had nothing to do with the stories that were being told. Very interesting, isn't it? All this studio interference. Well, in Snyder Stumbleoff, listen, he doesn't have to get lost. He can be here and say his piece, and I've seen Jesus around a long time. Jesus is a good dude, so he's free to be here. It's fine. I just don't agree with his perception of it, and that's all. Where? After Batman v Superman came out, The critical reaction was negative. I think I already said this. The box office was underwhelming. Justice League was about to start shooting. What was the atmosphere like then? There was a mood of fear, no doubt. So that's how everything was going into Justice League. The people in the boardroom started making the decisions. What gave you that sense? Right before the time of Batman v Superman, I was asked to attend an event in New York where the cast and filmmakers were paraded in front of a room of investors at Time Warner, I guess to convince them their money was in good hands. What happened there? These guys were in charge because they controlled the money at the very top of the pyramid. They were making big decisions, not the film executives we're talking about, but Wall Street guys. One guy who I can only describe as the man whose central casting sends you when you're trying to cast douchebag number one, pulled me aside and started telling me how to write Batman. I'm not naive. I know that if you don't want to have any back and forth with the money people, then you should write poetry because you don't need hundreds of millions of dollars. But something about the distribution of power at the time just seemed off to me. It was removing even the pretense that capital wasn't calling the shots. What impact did the studio tensions have on your writing? I rewrote Justice League to lighten the mood a little bit, which became the Zack Snyder's Justice League. There's a slightly lighter, slightly less dense version of the script, which I was fine with. I'm sane, and I will play ball with those kind of notes. That is interesting, you know? That is interesting to me because we heard Zack talk about that. We heard him talk about that in the panel that he did, where he said that after the reaction to BVS, they kind of looked at what they had planned for Justice League originally, and they were like, bro, they are not fucking ready for this. So they did. They kept the same premise and the same things that were going to happen, but they did change a couple things in it. And that is the script that became Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is crazy. I see George in the chat. What's up, George? Restore the Snyderverse. Yes, restore the Snyderverse. Shout out, George. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here, man. Let me catch up on some of these super chats here. Mr. J for $10. God bless Texas. Fuck Naughty Dog. Restore the Snyderverse. Free Rocky Knob Outpost. Ah, shit, I'm drunk. Down with higher gas prices. And Warner Brothers still on some bullshit. What, did I read that? I think I read that one already. I'm going crazy. I've been streaming for too long today. Super Nate for $5. Yo, bro, have you seen the trailer for the animated Long Halloween movie? Looks pretty dope, and Jensen Ackles sounds pretty good as Batman. I have not. I'm thinking about doing a trailer reaction for it. I'm not going to do it on a live stream because literally the last time I played a trailer on my live stream, Warner Bros. Fucking copyright struck me. We talked about that early on. I did get copyright struck by Warner Brothers. That's why I've not streamed on this channel. Fuck those pieces of shit. But I do plan on watching it for sure. Jock Nerdy for $5. DC is hotter than Marvel right now. Yes. If Warner Brothers doesn't see this, they are dumb. I agree. Let's see. And this is the thing. This is what I've been saying is the entire time they shouldn't have been trying to copy Marvel. They should have tried to do their own thing and give people something else. That's what this is. And it's something that a lot of people are looking at. And maybe it's because they're tired of Marvel. Maybe it's because they've watched so many of those damn Marvel movies, they're ready for something else. But I think a lot of people embraced the Snyder Cut. Mr. Olympian, $5. Mr. Olympian for $20. Holy shit. Hi, Ryan. Have you watched any of the Star Wars Versus videos from Jensarai 1, Grey Jedi 91, Evan Nova 95, Antoine Bandelli? I have not seen Antoine Bandelli. That's the one of those that I have not. Which is your favorite or most surprising verses? One of my favorites is Jensarai's Jensarai's. I always say Jensari because it's how I read it. Jensarai's Luke versus Bane. I've watched a lot of Evan Nova's. I've watched a significant amount of Jensarai's as well. I think there was a Kyle. Was it the Jason Solo? There was like a Jason Solo Darth Malgus duel. Is that the one I'm thinking of? Hold on. Evan Nova versus Jason Solo, or maybe it's Darth Kaitis or something. Oh, was the Vader? Was it the Vader versus Darth Kaitis? Is that the one that I'm thinking of? Because I'll be real. I think that Jason Solo would wipe the floor with Darth Vader. Maybe not Anakin. I think that Anakin he'd have a problem with, but Jason was like, Jason had such a vast array of force powers that I think Vader would have struggled as Vader. As Vader. Yeah, no problem, George. It's always good to see you, buddy. I think of the Joker movie and Warner Brothers squandered opportunity to position the genre as a more adult level. Yeah, it's because they weren't involved in it. That's why. It's because Warner Brothers had almost no skin in the game. They were not involved in the Joker movie. They thought it was just going to be some little thing that barely made any fucking money. And it made $1 billion. And they barely made any money on it because they barely put any money in it. It was other studios. I guarantee if Warner Brothers had been involved, and if you do get a Joker 2, they're probably going to fuck it up. My favorite Legends material is probably post-Return of the Jedi, so New Jedi Order and Legacy of the Force, that era. That's my favorite. Canadian $2 from Mr. Carlos Green. What is your bet on when they will release Justice League 2? I think that we are going to I think that we are going to get some clarification on that within the next month. I would say if we haven't heard anything about restoring the Snyderverse in the next month, especially after that AT&T call, it may not happen. But that's just kind of my feelings right now. 2 years from now, though, if it does get greenlit, 2 years from now. That would be my guess. 187 says, Ryan, one of your fans attacked me. Sorry if I went over the top, but I'm cool with you. I don't know, man. Like, listen, not everybody that's here in this chat has the same opinions. Not everyone that watches every one of my videos has the same opinions. You might agree with one, completely disagree with me on another, and that's fine and that's cool. And, people argue. That's part of fucking life. Like, you argue even with your friends. You argue with a lot of people in real life. But, part of living and part of life is to, part of living and part of life is dealing with people and like overcoming that shit. And if somebody comes at you, you might come back at them, calmer heads prevail, and you fucking move on. So it is what it is, bro. Thoughts on the upcoming Bad Batch series? I'm not interested in it, Jesus. I don't care about that story. It is a ripoff from Legends material and Karen Travis. I wonder if they have the chips in them, I guess. I'm personally not very invested in it. I'm very much a 2003 Clone Wars fan instead of the Clone Wars. So I bet there's a lot of people who've sworn off Disney Star Wars forever that I go running right back for the Bad Batch, though. Kind of what I think about it. All right, back to this. So Zack Snyder shot your version of the script. What happened after his family crisis led him to leave the project and Warner Brothers brought in Joss Whedon to rewrite and reshoot? Again, this is where it gets very, very interesting. So Zack Snyder shot your version of the script. I already said that. When the movie was taken away, that felt like it was some directive that had come from people who are neither filmmakers nor film friendly. The directive to make the movie under 2 hours, regardless of what the movie needed to do, and make the colors brighter, and to have funny sitcom jokes in it. God, that's fucking insane. Zack told me it was Warner Brothers then chairman, Kevin Tsuchihara's mandate that it be under 2 hours and more comedic. Yes, that's what I've heard also. I never had anything direct with him. Tsuchihara, as far as I can tell, and the brass at the very top decided the order of the films. This is crazy. I was not consulted on the order of the films, even though I was the person writing Justice League. They just determined that it was going to be Batman, Superman, then Wonder Woman, then Justice League, then Aquaman. So there was never any thought as to how the world was constructed before they issued this edict. They said, conform to this schedule. Explain how that complicated things. Fuck. The Wonder Woman script wasn't even finished when I wrote Justice League. So I had no basis to write Wonder Woman other than Batman v Superman. Themyscira didn't even exist. I was never shown anything on the page for it. I didn't know whether people could talk underwater. That was the thing I had to ask because I didn't know if I could do underwater scenes with Aquaman and the Atlanteans. It was all just from scratch because there had been no solo character films. So Justice League needed to establish 3 of these characters. It had to create a long game mythology for DC. It had to resurrect Superman because he was dead. I just don't know how you could do all that in under 2 hours. Maybe the 2017 release proved that you couldn't. And I think it's pretty true. They couldn't. Yeah, Karen Travis is the beast when it comes to clones. That's what I think. Studio co-presidents John Berg and Jeff Johns were on Justice League set every day, which was a mandate from Tsuchihara to babysit Snyder, as he put it. What was your relationship with them? Look, I admire Jeff as a writer of DC Comics. He's been nice to me in his perfectly cordial relationship. As an executive, you get into very thorny territory when you have a person who's a writer who is also making executive decisions and sitting in the chair where on other films the writer would have been. So I think it's miraculous that Zack shot as much of my script as he did because I know there was constant pressure to simplify, to change, to do whatever it is the studio wanted because there were rumblings that they didn't want this version. Did you have many interactions with the actors? I wasn't invited to the set. I wasn't invited. Yes, yeah, that's why they used, which I actually kind of dig. I actually really dig the way that they communicate, because in my mind, like we've heard people in the way that they talk underwater, you know, it doesn't make sense. And that it would make sense to me that they would use like something like that. They would have developed an Atlantean language like that, the echolocation, kind of the dolphin speak, and then move the water aside to actually speak if they're going to speak in English or whatever. So I kind of like that. I wish that's the way it was in Aquaman. Unfortunately, it's not. But, you know, that is what it is. I wasn't invited on set, but obviously I know Ben, and I got to know Ray Fisher. We developed Cyborg together. Ray came to my apartment in the East Village, and he and I would take long walks and talk about Cyborg and the responsibility of putting the first Black DC superhero in a movie on screen. That was a big responsibility that we both understood and took very seriously. Remember, this is before Black Panther. There obviously had been some Black superheroes over the years, but none depicted with such a budget and such scale and such mainstream way. Cyborg is the one character who can't disguise himself. He lives in his skin. His otherness is a constant fact in his life. And that to me, and Ray and I discussed this before, speaks about being a Black man in America. You cannot remove the otherness that people force upon you. And therefore, Cyborg, when it comes to be the hero he always should and was meant to be, that felt like something really strong that we wanted the world to see. Now, I've talked about this before when it comes to Ray Fisher and why he feels the way that he feels. I've said that when you look at everything that happened to everyone that's spoken out about this, that is very clear that Joss Whedon was a fucking nightmare to everyone on the set of Justice League. And, you know, they cut so much of Ray Fisher's story that he was very attached to. And that is why he feels so strongly about it. I personally don't think that that had to do with race being the reason that a lot of people are jumping to, and Ray's talked about himself, about them cutting his character out, because when you look at everybody, you know, Batman had a bunch of his arc cut out. Wonder Woman had a bunch of her arc cut out. Jason Momoa had a bunch of his arc. Flash had a bunch of his arc. Superman even had a little bit of his arc cut out and changed. Like, everything was affected by this because they were trying to completely change the way this story was written. It was about making it fucking happy, about making it like the MCU. So although I agree with all the things that happened were bullshit in the way they went about it, I think the motivations may be a little different. But this, I think, is why Ray Fisher takes this so seriously. So that's kind of what I think too, Lou. That's exactly the way I feel about it. When does Bell stream again? Bell. I don't know. All right. Where am I? What about any of the other performers? Did you consult with any of them? I talked to Jeremy Irons on the phone. Jeremy Irons, who was mad about this. I had correspondence with Gal where she would write to me and say, this doesn't seem quite right for the character. What do you think? And it was a really good relationship where all the roles would be bespoke to the actors. When Snyder's left the project, that was effectively the end of your involvement. Is that right? That's right. I would only hear the occasional reports about the reshoot. I didn't realize how much of the film was going to be changed or vandalized, in my opinion. It became clear as I spoke to various actors that it was the wholesale dismantling of what had been there before. I did not hear from anyone who said it was a pleasant experience. Were you hearing anything about Joss Whedon and his management of the set? I probably shouldn't get into that. I've never met Joss. I don't know him. I did reach out at the beginning of the process through the executives, but I didn't hear back, which is not unusual. Where was I? When did you watch his version of Justice League? I was in LA at the time working on Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, which we've talked about. I was on west side of Los Angeles working with J.J. Abrams at the time. I drove to the studio and sat down and watched a couple weeks before release. I immediately called my lawyer and said, I want to take my name off the film. The lawyer then called Warner Brothers and told them I wanted to do that. That is fucking crazy. That is crazy. Take my name off this fucking film. That's how bastardized it was, guys. And we've seen that now. We've seen that in fruition. Why didn't you? Prints had already been struck or hard drives burned or however they deliver movies these days. The elements were on their way. And to remove my name, would they have to restrike the prints or redo the digital copies and the film could be delayed? It would be an international scandal and news story. So I shut up and I said nothing publicly. I've never said anything about Justice League since then, but the movie doesn't represent my work. What happened after that? As far as I know, I wasn't invited to the premiere and I never watched the film again. So you have a director in Zack Snyder who his name was on the film, clearly not his vision, not his movie. You have a writer in Chris Terrio who is on there, clearly not his vision, not his work. But they try to present it like that. The studio tried to blame, they tried to change everything they want to do to catch up with the Marvel. And then when it didn't work, they blamed it all on the fall guys, Zack Snyder and Chris Terrio. That's fucked up, man. That's fucked up. So why not follow through and remove your name? I think it would have created a whole wave of negative publicity that I think would have made the situation even worse for the actors and for all the craftspeople who worked on it, for all kinds of people. But I'm awfully happy that Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League is one that's higher on my IMDb page. And I also think when you look at people removing their names from this, I think that like there's so much weird money stuff involved. Like if you were to say, take me off this, I don't want any credit. What about all the money that you got paid for this? What about any royalties? Like what about all that shit? It's very, very complicated. So not sure. Something that was this big and prominent and so widely derided, it kind of poisons your reputation, doesn't it? Yeah, it hurts your reputation, but more importantly, it poisons your soul and your confidence, especially when this other version of the film wasn't seen. And now that it has been seen, people do have problems with this version of the film, and they'll quibble with the length, they'll quibble with the way that certain characters are written. But that I can take because that is actually a critique of my work. That's fair game, and I'll engage that any day. People can quarrel with this movie, but at least they're quarreling with my version and with Zack's version of the film. Do you ever feel like they deliberately made you the scapegoat, the studio? I am a deeply paranoid person, and I'm always assuming that everyone has it in for me. Justice League, the Zack Snyder version, is the only script other than Argo that I have a sole writer credit on. So I really did develop this, so I can stand by this version, love it or hate it. And he's asked what he's working on now. He says a small film that he's doing with Amazon. So there you have it. Chris Terrio. Chris Terrio. Boom, boom, boom. That is a long interview. It took us over an hour just to read through it. Obviously, we're intermixing things, but that's the way that Chris Terrio feels about the Snyder Cut and everything that went down to it. And yeah, it's just crazy. Let me check Streamlabs because I have not checked Streamlabs. Holy fuck, George. I just checked Streamlabs. Thank you, George Molo, for $150. Dude. Thank you very much, George. You're incredible, man. He says, this is my first time catching your live stream. Love your enthusiasm for the Snyderverse. What do you honestly think the chances are that they will keep it going? And of course, restore the Snyderverse. Hail, Ryan. Hail. Hail, George Malo. Appreciate that, brother. I said it a little earlier. You know, I think that the chances are higher that they don't restore it as we speak. For a lot of different reasons. Not because I don't want to believe a lot of the stuff's out there, but simply because what we've seen from Warner Brothers, all the things that are playing against it right now, all the people that want to forget it, all the people that want to bury it. But at the same time, I think we still have a very significant chance that this happens. So I would place it around 35 or 40% that we do continue the Snyderverse. That's my 40%. I think it's a little less than 50-50, but we're at 40%. That's my completely unscientific guess, because I think it's a little less than 50-50. When you're looking at the success it has on HBO Max, when you're looking at the success on HBO Max and the international stuff, you got to remember, this movie, obviously Godzilla vs. Kong, we're hearing that the numbers were higher for Godzilla vs. Kong by about maybe like 30% higher, the HBO Max streaming numbers. I think that over time, more people are going to rewatch Zack Snyder's Justice League than Godzilla vs. Kong. It's my opinion. I don't think there's a lot of rewatchability as far as investment in Godzilla vs. Kong. I think it's a movie you turn on and don't think about, and never really think about it again. You just see big monsters fighting each other. Where I think you're going to get a lot of rewatches. A lot of time is going to be spent watching Zack Snyder's Justice League. The international numbers are insane. Godzilla vs. Kong, 250,000 people tuned in over a certain period of time in the UK. Almost 1 million for Zack Snyder's Justice League. So they quadrupled the number of Godzilla vs. Kong in the UK. It set records in Canada. It set records in Australia. It's not just about HBO Max in America, although that's what we all really focus on. It's a worldwide thing, and worldwide, this shit was setting records. And I think that's something that you need to pay attention to. So, I think they've got a lot of ammo to restore the Snyderverse and a lot of flexibility on HBO Max. The J.J. Abrams thing is really what I think is, pushing against, pushing that number down below 50-50. I don't think that J.J. Abrams wants this, and they're paying him $500 million. I don't think about it this way. If you're J.J. Abrams and you're about to do a Black Superman story with Ta-Nehisi Coates as a reboot, it's what everyone suspects that it will be. Kind of sounds like it will be. Do you want Henry Cavill's Superman going up against that? Do you want people to have a choice and be like, I'd rather watch a Henry Cavill Superman? No, because I can tell you right now, virtually everyone loves Henry Cavill as Superman. Everyone wants Henry Cavill as Superman. So I don't think that J.J. Abrams would want that universe interfering with his stuff. That's what he's done at Star Trek. It's what he's done with Star Wars. He eliminates any other storylines that are going on to tell his story. So that is something that I really think we need to look at. Fix the white. I don't know how to fix the white balance on my camera. It's only bad when I don't have natural light in here. It's only bad when I don't have natural light. What do you think about the people who say you and Jeremy radicalized Star Wars theory? They say I did? Did they say I radicalized them? Man, I go from the one being radicalized to the one doing the radicalizing, huh? I think that's crazy. Star Wars Theory is his own dude. Star Wars Theory has fucking 3 million subscribers. He is the biggest Star Wars YouTube channel. He's going to be bigger than the official Star Wars channel before long, I think. The idea that he would be influenced or radicalized by us is crazy, man. That's just crazy. All right, let me get back to the super chats, though. Thank you again, George. $150. Insane in the membrane. Why is that? Oh, I hate that viewer activity thing. All right. Let me go back. I got to actually pull up my chart because it did something dumb. Hate it when it does that. Thank you guys for being here. 300 people. We've been at 300 people sitting here the whole time, which is just fucking incredible. All right. Let me scroll back, make sure I didn't miss anything really quick. I missed this one. Legendary Mako TV. DC needs Zack Snyder. It sucks that when things are starting to get good, they want to switch to JJ. Honestly, AT&T needs to get involved and fire people. I mean, I think that AT&T really needs to take over. You know, I think AT&T really needs to take over for sure. And, you know, start making decisions based on money instead of on hurt feelings and agendas like Warner Brothers is trying to do. That's what I think. All right. I think, yeah. Eric Winberg, I totally missed this one, Eric. Good to see you live. Catch you later for $2. Thank you, Eric Winberg. I appreciate that, man. All right, so I missed those completely from earlier. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm catching back up now. Mr. Olympian for $5. Ryan, what is in your background? It looks great. Is that Dark Empire? Which part? I got a lot of shit in my background. I got Revan's lightsaber. I've got General Zod. I've got a bunch of figures. I got my Jaina Solo. I got my Darth Nihilus. I got my Darth Revan. I got my Justice League mug from Ink to the People. I got a Kyle Katarn. I've got a Reborn Emperor Palpatine. I got a bunch of hats. I got my Batman hat, Wonder Woman hat, Flash hat, Aquaman hat, Deathstroke hat under that. I do have Dark Empire right here. Complete Dark Empire collection. So, yeah. Ladies Man bought your first hot toy, a $300 Guardians of the Galaxy Gamora. What's the first hot toy? I've never bought a hot toy. I just, that's so much money, man. That's so much money. And there's so many things that I see and I love and I like that, that's a lot of money for. I live in California. Rent's really expensive here. So I'm looking to move to Texas soon. Maybe when I move to Texas, I can start getting some hot toys. I love the Superman hot toy. Oh, that looks good. I really want that. John Wonder says, with a multiverse, shouldn't we have more than one Superman? Yeah, I agree. I'm totally fine. I am totally fine with a multiverse where we have more than one Superman. I think that J.J. Abrams has a problem with it. That's what I think. And like Henry Cavill's Superman is the story that I want to see continued, to be honest with you. If you had to choose, I don't want to have to choose. I am totally fine with them doing an Earth 2 Superman and an Earth 2 Batman and like all these stories. That's fucking phenomenal. Go for it. The more, the better. I want everything. You know what? I want David Ayer's Suicide Squad, and I want to see James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. I think I'll probably like David Ayer's a little better, but that's fine. And I just wish that they would really adopt that kind of, that kind of attitude. I wonder if Ryan actually read all those books. I mean, you can ask me a bunch of questions about him if you want. Every single Star Wars book on this thing I've read. So I think I've got somewhere around like 140 Star Wars Legends novels. Yeah. Mr. Carlos Green for $2 Canadian bucks. I read that one. Dane B for Aussie, $7.99. Imagine one day if all fiction media becomes woke and we have to create and share fan fiction to get good content, but in secret like Prohibition. That's interesting. That's interesting. I would be totally down for that. By down for that, I mean, I would be one of the people that would be sitting there, like putting these things around, sending it in some on the dark web to try to get around it so we can get more stories like that. The problem with fan fiction is you can never get a consensus as to what you feel canon is. You know what I mean? So what did I use my Biden bucks on? To pay down some debt. That's to use my Biden bucks on. Pay down some debt. Mr. J for $10. Warner Brothers is evil Shane McMahon. Here comes the money. Here comes the money. Yeah. Fans want the Snyderverse. AT&T is greedy Vince McMahon. The Snyderverse needs a powerful ally. Cue The Rock's music and the JR commentary. Yep, I'm drunk. That would be good. We need like a meme like that with, you know, Warner Brothers, you know, and then being like The Rock being like, tell me, do you want to continue the Snyderverse? Do you want to just let me know, what do you think about the Snyderverse? Do you want to continue the Snyderverse? And Warner Brothers will be like, well, no, we don't really. It doesn't matter what you. Yeah, that's what we need. We need that from Black Adam, from The Rock, because AT&T are the ones that are going to make this decision. Hopefully, that's what we're looking forward to. Super Nate for another $5. Off topic, but I'm Lego Darth Jar Jar. Okay, got it. What's up, man? Change my name on here because Star Wars is pretty much dead to me, and Twitch won't let me change my name. Really? I think Twitch lets you change it. I think that Twitch, I don't know. I thought that Twitch lets you change it at some point, but I don't know. You're saying traitor? Yeah. Who was that? I lost the comment. Someone was talking about an NJO book. Where was it? Where was it? Well, somebody said that they love that they really love New Jedi Order, or they love Legends. They've read Traitor 8 times. Here's my Traitor book. Traitor's awesome, actually. Matthew Stover is a really underrated EU author. And Jason Solo's story in this is just like, I fucking love it. Absolutely love the indoctrination of Jason Solo to eventually putting himself on the path to become Darth Caedus. One of my favorite, like, Jason Solo is probably my favorite Star Wars character. And it's one of the reasons that I dislike the sequel trilogy so much, because what they did with Kylo Ren, he is clearly a discount version of Jason Solo. That's what he was inspired by. And he's made to look kind of like Revan. And he's just dog shit compared to the Chad Jason Solo, Darth Caedus. He would have wiped the floor with Kylo Ren's bitch ass. So I really do love the expanded universe. Blue-eyed Scorpio for $2. Ryan, you're the only hot toy I want to play with. Ooh, nice. Thank you, Blue-eyed Scorpio. Indoctrinated with Darth Talon's pussy. Well, hey, you said it. You said it. I love Darth Talon. Justice League Dark is different than Justice League. Yeah, Justice League Dark is very different than Justice League. Sometimes there's some overlap, but there you go. Yes, Revenge of the Sith novelization is incredible. Better than the movie, and I really like the movie. So, all right, guys. We are going to get out of here. I'm going to end the stream. I don't know who else is doing anything right now. You know who is? My man, Tim, Open Airlock Policy. I think he's live. Hold on. Open Airlock Policy. I think he's live right now. He is.
But when we know.
There you go. They're talking about Disney Star Wars and talking about Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier. And no, they're talking about Captain America, how they were doing the Red Skull Jordan Peterson stuff. So they're not talking about Snyder Cut, but if you want to go watch, that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. He is Tim is a up-and-coming YouTuber. He's almost at 1,000 subs now, I think. Yeah, he's getting close to 1,000 subs. He talks a lot about, he's very critical of Disney Star Wars, talks about a lot of expanded universe stuff. One of my longtime supporters and patrons, really good dude. I'm going to put the link in the chat right there so you guys have it. Again, might not be everybody's cup of tea. He's got different takes than me, but cool dude, and I'm glad that I've gotten to know him. But there we go, guys. Shout out to each and every one of you who's here supported me. I'm glad that I got, what is it called? The strike. Glad I got the fucking copyright strike removed because Warner Brothers is asshole. Because I always want to continue on and doing these streams for you guys. I will talk to you later. Peace.